Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into being a chiropractor. My guest today is Mark Galati, and he is a chiropractor at Fischer Chiropractic Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So usually I start my guests where you went to school. So where'd you go to school?
Well, after high school, I attended 2 years at St. John's University in Jamaica, Queens. We happened to be living in Queens at the time. So it was convenient. It was pretty much right up the road from where I was residing with my parents, and got some good prerequisites down. I knew right through my sophomore year in high school that I wanted to become a chiropractor. After spending those 2 years over at St. John's, I transferred over to Nassau Community College in Garden City, Long Island. Finished up in their pre-chiropractic program, and after that had some preferred seating according to that program for New York Chiropractic College, and got my higher education from there. And happy to say it was a fantastic institution and still is.
Wow. So let's just go back in time before we get into going to St. John's. When did it all begin for you going to college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year of high school? When did it all start for you?
I'd have to say following the baseball injury I received in my sophomore year, I knew right then and there chiropractic was for me. I sustained an injury at home plate, sliding in head first, which I tell you not to do. Really injured my right shoulder as well as my neck, and within 2 weeks of seeing a local chiropractor, got back onto the field, excelled better than I had before.
Wow.
With full spinal maintenance. And right from there, I said, you know what, I like this, I can do this, this is what I want to do. So that just intrigued me to continue to pursue further, what do I need to do what this local chiropractor did, and loved every minute of it, and it's been fantastic. It's been a great ride ever since.
Wow. So it started as on the high school baseball team.
Correct. Yeah, it was the JV team. I actually did not try out for varsity. I figured, I'd rather focus my extra time on the studies, upping my science background so that going into higher education, I'd be better prepared. Sure, I love baseball. I still do.
Sure.
But at that point, my focus was get into school, become a chiropractor, and enjoy every minute of it.
So you go to St. John's University. What's the school like? What do they actually get involved with to become a chiropractor at the university?
Well, at St. John's University, they have a very prestigious pharmacy college where they offer a lot of basic science programs. So when I entered St. John's, I entered just taking the prerequisites for a science program, your basic biology, chemistry, some various anatomy and other prerequisites required to get through a science program. At that point, when I sustained enough credits, I was looking into various other schools that had preferred seating for New York Chiropractic College, and sure enough, Nassau Community College was one of them. So I was able to transfer a bulk of my credits on over there, finish up at Nassau. So St. John's actually developed a good program, my understanding is, for the basic sciences moving forward for various other healthcare professionals. Still fantastic institution, as is Nassau Community College. So
now what is what's the process of becoming a chiropractor? Is it going to a 4-year college and then doing chiropractic school, or just doing some at the college and going to a chiropractic type of environment?
It depends on the institution, the higher institution, meaning either Life College of Chiropractic, New York College of Chiropractic, various other fantastic, again, schools that you'll get a great education on how to become a chiropractor. The process does start with the basic sciences, once again, and depending on the person's need or desire, they would either want to receive an undergraduate degree, associate's, bachelor's, whatever it may be. That also depends on the state scope of practice. Each scope of practice is different per state, and they have their own requirements. So knowing in advance where you want to practice and what their requirements are, that is crucial in the beginning. Because there are some states that require you to have a bachelor's degree, prior to entering chiropractic school. So that's one thing as far as advice for people looking into becoming a chiropractor. Start at that basic level. Figure out where you want to practice and see what the laws are per state.
So the science is it more like becoming a doctor without actually becoming a doctor?
That is correct. Without becoming an MD, my program paralleled a lot of what the medical professionals had to go through. Between the basic anatomies, the physiologies, pathophysiology, anatomy courses. I went through 3 semesters of dissection lab.
Wow.
So human anatomy is extremely important. We get a lot of courses on diagnoses as well as spinal manipulation techniques, which chiropractors pride themselves on, and a lot of other things that, a lot of other courses that medical professionals would not be taking.
So now when you go to chiropractic school, what are they teaching you there compared to a 4-year, I guess, science type of environment?
Okay, fantastic question. So the first year, again, all the basic sciences. Now when I say the first year, my college, New York Chiropractic College, was on a trimester system, so it was 3 semesters every year. So the first 3 semesters, first 3 trimesters are anywhere from 32 to 36 credits between lectures and labs. And you'd imagine it's quite intense.
So you get involved in each of the courses. Do you learn about the bones and how to adjust them and things of that sort?
That's correct. After the first 3 trimesters is where you start your spinal manipulation classes, starting with the lower part of the back and then moving up the spine as each trimester goes on. The semesters do have a rigorous course of x-rays as well, radiology courses, because taking x-rays and being able to properly diagnose is definitely one of the things that we pride ourselves on as well, having that availability.
And now, what are the tests that you take? Is it similar to what a doctor does, where they take a certified board test? Is it something like that, or is it just a test at the end of your chiropractic school, and if you pass, that's it?
Sure. Well, each course has its own midterm and final examination, and then we are required to sit for the national boards, part 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Wow.
At this point, the national boards do encompass part 4. That is, many states of the 50, I believe it's 30. My numbers may be off, but I'm thinking about 37 or 38 states accept that part 4. So once you pass that part, then you are granted professional license through some extra paperwork, and again, each state has their own requirements.
So now you graduate from the schools, you have a chiropractic degree. How does one go from there to becoming a chiropractor at Fischer Chiropractic Center?
Okay, great question. So after the national boards are taken and successful completion and passing, then you have to apply for your state licensure, which requires, again, each state is different. Some states require a background check, submission of lots of paperwork, showing proof and documentation. At that point, there's a waiting period of several months sometimes, and then the license arrives in the mail saying, congratulations, go out and do what you were trained to do.
Wow. So is that your first job with Fischer, or is it you go through many different jobs before you get there?
So after I received my license back in 1999, I started out as an associate in a small practice in Brooklyn, New York, and I was there for approximately 6 months, 8 months or so. After that, I found another opportunity which I thought was a little bit better in County of Bronx, good old Bronx, and I stayed in the Bronx for close to 21 years practicing in an office and other offices as well, providing some additional help. And then when it was time for my family and I to consider relocating, we happened to land upon central New Jersey, and I made contact with Dr. Fischer at Fischer Chiropractic Center. And he and I had spoken a couple of times and figured this is the place to be, with the longevity and the fantastic reputation that office has for, might I say, 53 years in the same location,
Wow.
we still pride ourselves in providing fantastic service every single day. And it's been a dream to be there ever since. It's
So
terrific.
now, what is a typical day of a chiropractor? Do you just see patients from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, and it's just boom, boom, boom every few minutes to an hour or whatever it is? Give me a synopsis of what you're actually doing each day.
So a typical day is an atypical day. Each patient presents with their own condition, each case. We can see many new patients in a day, that some of which would require x-rays for their condition due to the chronicity behind their condition. Some patients come in with acute injuries that happened hours before, and they're able to call up the office and make an appointment the same day and get in and be seen, evaluated, and possibly treated for the nature and the complexity of their injury. We do have a full schedule right now, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where they are from 8 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, with a 3-hour break in between, just for some lunch and some paperwork. Tuesdays and Thursdays we go through for about 5 or 6 hours. Again, also treating patients. We have time slots. Patients come in by appointment, and they are set up, depending on what their treatment regimen is, set up with pre-therapy. Some patients just come in and get routine maintenance adjustments just to keep the spine healthy and aligned. And then there are others that require a little bit more extensive treatment, like cold laser we have. We do have spinal decompression unit, which is still one of the best therapies out there for bad backs, let's just call it. Again, every day there's different challenges,
Right.
but there's also different joys every single day,
Yeah.
because we're making changes in people's lives.
So now, what's the difference between a chiropractor and a regular doctor practitioner that you go see? You have a head cold or whatever it is. So what is the difference when someone comes to you?
Well, first of all, a chiropractor is a healthcare provider whose main goal is to optimize spinal functioning through chiropractic manipulations or adjustments to make sure that the body functions as best as possible and taps into its own innate, inborn healing ability. Through whether it's spinal manipulation or manipulation of any other joint in the body, we do have the knowledge, technique, and background to effectively treat patients for various type of ailments. As long as we're able to successfully get 100% nerve supply in the body in and of itself knows how to take care of itself.
So now, patients can be of what? Infant age all the way up to elderly patients?
At our office, we do see some children, a lot of adolescents, high school kids, plenty of adults, and we do have an older population that comes in as well, and everyone gets fantastic care based upon their needs.
So now, what are some of the most common things that people come in for? Just an adjustment of their back?
Most commonly at this point is spinal wellness and prevention. We like to see patients during the first phase of their care to get them the relief that they're looking for. At that point, we provide supportive care to make sure that once the pain goes away, the pain doesn't come back again.
Yeah.
And then we recommend, depending on the patient's needs, some maintenance work to ensure, again, every so often, come in, get your chiropractic adjustment, get your spine realigned, and make sure that your spine is functioning as best as possible, because a spine that holds good alignment is able to function and be there every single day when you need to call upon it.
So now, what causes the spine to get out of line?
Everyday stresses and strains can be, the simple things like sitting in a car for too long, or commuting to work in an awkward standing position or a sitting position. Trauma, like what happened to me all those years ago also. A lot of weekend warriors will push themselves a little bit more. A lot of minor things that we would think are minor. Postural faults, deficiencies in balance and posture overall.
Now, people always talk about also when they're in college, is there any monies involved in these particular occupations? Do the colleges have money for people going into the sciences, like becoming a doctor or a chiropractor or things of that sort? Did you see anything like that when you were there, or is it really you can make good money after college?
There are, at least with New York State, I can say this, there were assistance programs that help pay for the education of both undergraduate and graduate as well. There's plenty of loaning institutions as well that will help you along the way, kind of finance your higher education, lower education as well. And then after that, it's pretty much, okay, you're in the field. You can work as an associate if you want to start that way, get a little bit of experience under your belt, or as several of my classmates did, opened up their own practice just right out of school.
Wow.
Maybe sacrifice for a good year, 2 years or so. But then at that point learned the business aspect of it a little bit better and took off from there.
So now, do you see a lot of, because it's a high school college show, do you see a lot of high school and college students that might come in and get adjusted? And what type of injuries are they coming in with? Do you see really more just sports, or is it just someone just sitting the wrong way all the time and coming in and just a normal student going to school?
Anthony, that's a great question. I see a culmination of young individuals that come in from either back strain from heavy backpacks to sitting in the classroom for too long. A lot of sports players come in and they have a little tweak in the back or tweak in the shoulder. We're there to make sure that they're functioning as best as possible and getting them to be able to be productive both in classroom as well as on the field. One of the things that we've noticed also now with a lot of the remote learning is that, dare I say, kids are home in front of a laptop or some type of tablet learning device, and they have bad posture, and the sedentariness of what they're doing is really throwing them out of whack.
Yeah.
And that's one of the chronic issues that we've seen as of late due to the COVID pandemic. We're working on restoring good alignment and good functional balance and structural balance of the spine to make sure that, again, they're as best as can be.
So is it really, you see a lot of people with like neck injuries because they're bending down looking at their computer, or they're playing video games and that kind of stuff? Is that where you see most of it?
The good old tech neck, between the phones, the tablets, even people working on laptops. I mean, the laptop should be raised higher up to create a normal balance in the spine. A lot of people are looking down, albeit sure, convenient to work on a laptop during your hour-and-a-half commute on the train, wherever you need to go. It's actually putting a lot of stress and strain on the spine.
Wow. So what's an actual remedy for people? Is it just to sit up straight? Is that really what you're asking everyone to do?
Being mindful of the situation that is throwing the spine out of alignment, that's the key. And then making the corrections from there. Simple things as brushing your teeth in the morning. You don't want to be hunched over the sink. You want to be more straight and hold yourself up that way. Trying to focus on good posture and overall balance with where you are in space and what you're doing. Whether you're just taking a simple walk in the park, doing some running, some jogging. We push a lot of stretching and strengthening exercises as part of a person's rehabilitation program to make sure that once we've done what we needed to do, the spine lasts a lot longer. And it's all about getting longevity as a team approach between the chiropractor for routine maintenance as well as the person themselves.
So now tell me a little bit about Fischer Chiropractic Center. Where is it? How do people find you? Is there just you, or is there many people like you there? Give me a little sense of what it's like there, where it is, and
Sure.
so on.
Sure. Fischer Chiropractic Center, once again, at the same location for 53 years. Great office to be a part of. There's myself, and we have two other doctors that are there, both Dr. Fischer himself as well as Dr. Stephen Dickert. The three of us are pretty much focused on making sure the practice is up and running as best as possible. And once again, we pride ourselves in providing great service every single day. We also have a fantastic website, which we can have patients book and schedule online if they want to.
So they come from all over, just make a phone call, and that's find you online and
Either find us online, do a Google search, and sure enough, Fischer Chiropractic Center, we're there, right on White Horse Avenue, same location once again. We're also in the area. People know us because we have a nice time and temperature sign right on the front lawn. So anyone that's driving up and down White Horse Avenue will know not only the temperature at that time, but they can also make sure that their watch is set correctly.
and that's in Hamilton, New Jersey, and Central New Jersey here.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other things that you do do you do any type of seminars or things of that sort outside of the office, so then you educate people on what to do and how not to get injured?
Currently, we do not. We do not provide any outside services. One of the things that we do want to get involved in over the next few months is getting ourselves into a lot of the gyms, because people are now getting back to realizing, hey, I need to get myself in shape. I need to do something. And the first place people think of is, let me just go to the local gym and see what I can do. And a lot of the facilities do provide personal training, but getting them that extra knowledge about how the spine properly functions so that they can be at their best and prevent any injuries, that's the key. So one of the things that we're thinking about is going out and doing some lectures at some of the local facilities.
Now, a lot of people always ask about finance, money. It's not free to come to do a chiropractic adjustment of some sort.
That's right.
So does Fischer Chiropractic Center, do they take insurance? Do people just come in and give you cash, a credit card? Can you do any which way? Is it expensive, not expensive?
Our office does take most major insurances. People that don't have insurance, we do have cash options. We're also involved with Chiro Health USA, which is a discount medical program where people pay for a membership fee with the main company, and that allows us to give them cash discounts and still being compliant with the government. Once again, the insurance is mostly what we see.
And is usually an adjustment, is it expensive? Is it reasonable?
I would say it's reasonable. I guess the cost versus benefit is what we want to look at. And the cost for the office visit and the benefits that people are receiving for good spinal wellness and health, I mean, that in and of itself is worth the office visit, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's usually the time factor when someone goes there? Is it an hour long? Is it 5 minutes? How long does a patient usually stay in there?
Typically, depending on how the patient's condition needs to be managed, patients come in on a maintenance basis. They'll be in the office maybe 10, 15 minutes. They'll get their corrective adjustment. There are other patients that do require a little bit more time because, whether it's a recent injury or some other issue we need to address, maybe some additional x-rays need to be done for whatever reason. The time frame is consistent with the patient's need all the time.
Great. So we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents, the students that might be interested in getting into becoming a chiropractor? What advice do you want to give them?
Right, and again, another fantastic question, Anthony, because I can say with assurance that knowing where you want to practice is the most important thing. And then based upon that, do the research on the state requirements, because you may be living in New York and want to practice in New Jersey or one of the surrounding states, and their scope of practice may be different than where you're actually living. So that's key to know what you're up against, not in a negative way, but you have to properly plan, and proper planning will make sure that you make all the right decisions and get everything done that needs to be accomplished.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.